Alright, people. You know what to do.
Bling, 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 bling.
Share.
Mike, how can you call it that?
Bling, bling. Oh, this lady is delivering piglets. Facebook, why do you show me these things? It's quite graphic. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. Can we get my air horn to test? I love it.
Do you want me to take intro duties?
Sure.
Let me know when.
Do you need the photos now? Because I'm trying to share them on my OneDrive, but because it's a bag of shite.
It's fine, mate. It's fine, mate. We'll put some out on our Instagram later.
Yeah. Chewy swat swam.
Who's
Hello,
doing
Internet.
intros?
Me! For fuck's sake! Have you got headphones on? Right.
They're not obviously
Mikey, we
on.
good, yeah? We good? We good?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, right.
I can't hear Wayne. I can't hear
Good.
Wayne.
Ugh.
Welcome everyone to the
Is
Bin
Wayne talking again?
Podcast. Oh, for
God.
fuck's sake.
Shut up!
Welcome everyone to the Bin Podcast. This is your weekly dive into the world of politics, current affairs, and just general shit. It will turn into a clusterfuck as per, but we try to hold a semblance of professionalism. This week we have a special guest. We'll introduce him momentarily. I'm going to throw it out to the room to say hello to everyone. Zartan, as you can't hear me, say hello.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
Oh god, here we go.
Never.
Right. Yeah. No. Welcome to the Bin Podcast. I'm so glad to be back. It's been so long. Haven't you missed me? Yeah. As per usual. Fortunately, this time I am not holding the reins on this absolute shit show.
Yeah.
Mikey is back taking care of business.
There.
I'm so glad to have you back because I've never been so stressed in my life. I've been sort of like stressed, drank way too much shit that I shouldn't pour into my face. But yeah.
That's
So-
every stream, Jartan.
Oh,
Well, it was worse. It was worse.
It was
yeah,
worse
so-
than what we've witnessed.
Yeah,
before?
dude. Yeah.
Jeez.
so
like,
I'm hearing some dulcet female tones. Who could that be?
Could be.
I don't know.
Who else can give you such sultry talk?
Yeah. Hey. I'm back. I've had some, not been feeling too well the last few days, so I've put my aggressions out and playing some various versions of Assassin's Creed, where I get to murder people with double hidden blades. It's how I get my stress out, man.
I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I can relate.
And who are you, by the way?
I don't know.
That's a deep question just asked. Who is?
Yeah, like
she?
I don't think I can answer that. Like,
Okay, Brenna Duncan. And then down below me
Wow.
is my boy Mikey Famine.
What up? What up? What up? What up? I have a new background picture, which is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay.
We're keeping it
Awesome
real.
one.
We're keeping it real from henceforward, and I will have a line of T-shirts, herbs and spices, coming to an online store near you.
And we also have a very special guest, as I previewed in all our socials and whatnot.
thank you. I'm
He
so
is
glad to be
back.
here. Yes, it's nice to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Fuck off down to the chicken shed now. Let's go.
You know what?
All
You
right.
know what? You know what our show is? It's one kid trying to give out a PowerPoint presentation, and all of his best mates just ripping him the entire time. That's what our show has
Exactly that.
become.
Yeah.
No, but we are blessed to have a two-time Guinness World Record holder in the man that is
Oh, man.
Graham Hughes. Graham, thank you for coming in.
Hello. You're very welcome.
Yeah. Oh wait, I
Thank
got an
you.
applause button.
How are you, mate?
I'm all right. I've had COVID last month, so I've got no sense of taste or smell. So that's not great, having no sense of taste. And I'm not even rich. It's not fair.
So you have something in common with Trump.
I've got no sense of taste, yeah, indeed. Or decency, but that's
Well
nothing to do with
played.
COVID. That's just me.
but you're in England right now, right?
Unfortunately, yes, I'm in Wangler.
So food tastes
in
better now.
Wales and England. The food actually is improved magnificently.
It's all about textures now, isn't it?
I'm just saying that
Oh,
tea now tastes to me like what it does for everybody else in the world who has to drink that Lipton yellow label shit. So I feel your pain now. I feel your pain. It just tastes like
Welcome to our Earth. Bad.
So, Graham,
yes,
you are a two-time Guinness World Record holder.
timer. Yes.
How did you get 2 Guinness World Records?
Well, I thought we were going to talk about my failures, not my successes.
We'll save that.
Okay, so in 2008, I went to Lonely Planet in Australia and said, hey, I've got this crazy idea. I'd like to go to every single country in the world without flying. No one's done it before. It'll be crazy, be fun, be a good laugh, and I'd like you to come along on the journey with me. And they were like, that's a great idea. Go and do it, and we'll give you a little camera so you can film yourself in all these dangerous places and then send us the footage. So in January the 1st, 2009, I set off on my journey. I started in South America. I did Caribbean, Central America, North America, across the Atlantic via Iceland to Europe, then down through West Africa, Southern Africa, Madagascar, back to East Africa and up to Egypt. And in the first year, I visited 133 countries of the world.
Shit.
200 countries in the world without flying. And I got a Guinness World Record for that. And then I kept going and went to the final the final 67 countries. Which became 68 on my travels because South Sudan became a country while I was traveling, while I was actually in Australia, which wasn't very helpful because it meant I had to go all the way back to Africa to take it off the list, which I did. But I finished in January 2013. I actually thought I finished in November of 2012 when I got to South Sudan, and I contacted Guinness World Records and say, hey, how's about giving me another record? I've been to every country in the world now without flying. And they were like, how'd you get into Russia again? We forgot. I said, oh, waded across this river called the River Narva between Estonia and Russia. And I got chased out the country by like angry Russian guards. And then I got arrested by the Estonians because they thought that I was trying to flee the Soviet Union. Russia. And and they looked at me and were like, well, they didn't look at me. They sent me an email. But they basically said, that was illegal. You can't go into a country illegally. We're going to avoid this whole thing. And I just spent like 4 years doing it. So I said, listen, if I get a Russian visa and get on the Eurolines bus in London and travel to Russia, can we tick it off the list? And they went, yeah, all right. So that's what I did. Not one of the difficult ones to get to, but and that's how I got my 2 Guinness World Records, which is possibly the second coolest thing I've ever done.
What's the first coolest thing you've ever done, pray tell?
I won a private island in a game show.
What?
If you go onto Google and type in Ginger Island, Jinja in Panama, it's my island, and I won it on a Survivor show in America called SOS Island, hosted by Les Stroud, the Survivor Man guy, the Canadian guy. He's like the Canadian Bear Grylls. He kind of does it properly. He really hates Bear Grylls because he's a faker. Anyway, I won, and the prize was an island. So I lived on an island in Panama for 3 years.
So what have you done with the island?
Still there. I'm currently paying a Panamanian family to live there while I'm in the UK, so people don't nick my stuff.
As you do.
Okay,
I'm-
so
I'm-
I have so many. I have so many questions. So many questions. Number one,
Yeah.
how come Antarctica is not on the list?
Because Antarctica is not a country; it's a continent.
It's a continent.
It's split into territories, like pieces of a Trivial Pursuit. No, a pizza. It's a territory. So I didn't count territories because there's quite a few territories out there. Obviously, there's Ascension Island, St. Helena, South Georgia Island. I mean, you could go on and on for years, going to every single little speck of, little rock in the
That
Atlantic.
sticks up out of the
But I mean, I managed to get to 101 sovereign or quasi-sovereign states, and then about 17 territories. So I did go to Martinique, I did go to Reunion Island, I went to Wallis and Futuna and New Caledonia. So there's quite a few territories that I did manage to get to, although I didn't go to Greenland, which is something that always people pull me up on, because Greenland is actually part of Denmark, technically. It's a quasi-autonomous region of Denmark, same as the Faroe Islands. And I didn't go there because I couldn't find a boat going there, and I didn't need to. I just needed to go to the UN countries, plus Kosovo, Palestine. What's the other one? There's another country that's not in the UN, but it's Taiwan. It
So
used
did
to
you go
be
to
in
all
the
the
UN,
Caribbean islands?
Sorry?
Did you go to all the Caribbean islands, or?
Yeah, I went to all the Caribbean island nations, plus Martinique. I didn't go to Guadeloupe because there was a general strike on at the time. I did go to the US Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, which are territories. I've been to Puerto Rico, and but I went to all the nations, so Barbados.
Did you go to Montserrat?
I didn't go to Montserrat, but I did go past Montserrat on a boat.
That's closer than I've ever been, and that's where my dad's from.
Oh, really? Well, they had the big volcanic eruption, so everyone left, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which is really sad, but I've been past it on a boat. So there you go. I waved.
Anyway.
On the way to Antigua and Barbuda.
I've been to Antigua. Of your favorite, because I can't say, where's your favorite country? Like,
ask me what my least favorite country is. Come on.
That was actually what I was gonna ask, but that's it. But now that seems a little. Seems my thunder has been stolen. Who has the worst food?
England.
Shut up, cunt.
Not England, because England is this. It's a Mongol race full of Mongol food, and it steals words from other people's languages and steals all their religious and historical artifacts. It just steals things. Britain is a thief.
It's what we do.
Goes around the world, looting and pillaging, and then going, "It was mine. I saw it first." No, I think probably like Russia or around Russia. You look like Georgia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan. I don't know. In Uzbekistan, they have plov, which is the national dish.
What is that?
Kind of scouse. Scouse is like an Irish stew, and it's from where Liverpudlians like myself from Liverpool, we get our nickname, and the name of our accent is scouse, and it comes from a stew. So it's kind of a bland food, but it's all right.
Just chuck everything into boiling water and serve it.
Yeah, Panama's not got that great food, actually. You can't get lamb in Panama because it's part of or almost part of America, kind of, because of the history of the canal and everything. They don't have decent cheese. They have American cheese. They manufacture this plastic and write cheese on it, which I think should be illegal. It's like it's a bit of plastic, and you open it, and there's more plastic inside, and you're like, "How is this cheese?"
Plastic wrap plastic.
Yeah. And
individually plastic wrap.
Going somewhere to eat, and it's always chicken and rice and beans, and that's it. It's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's just so yeah. That's
what more can you ask for?
Yeah, what else is there?
And then you find somewhere that does Mexican food, and it's great. The Caribbean food, actually, thinking about it, it's quite bland. It is just chicken or fish. And if you order fish, I think it was in St. Vincent and the Grenadines fame, and I fancied to change from chicken. So I had chicken every night that I was in the Caribbean, and I thought I'd have fish instead. And I thought, Caribbean, loads of fish. I'll get fish. So, that'd be nice. And I got the fish, and it was 2 soggy fish fingers.
Oh.
Nice.
I was like, pass the hot sauce. So yeah,
Exactly. That's why hot sauce was invented.
Land
The
food.
best food,
Oh.
the best food I had on my journey was in West Papua.
Really?
Ooh. What they got?
Sweet and sour squid, pretty much straight out the sea. There was in like these awnings that they had down by the quayside, and they'll cook up on a skillet anything that you wanted out of the ice boxes,
Oh.
like that. And usually when you get squid or octopus, it's kind of can be a bit chewy because it's kind of old. But this just like melted in your mouth. It was absolutely delicious. That really stuck with me. I've eaten dog in China. That's pretty bad. Don't eat dog. I've had dancing octopus in South Korea, which is like when it's wiggling.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where they put a certain sauce on it and it reacts?
Yeah. No, you
Yeah.
put the sauce on it to stop the suckers from sticking to the inside of your throat and choking you. That's why you put the sauce on it.
Jesus.
The
Like you
worst is in the Philippines, they have a sort of roadside snack called balut, and it's a fertilized duck egg. So basically, it's a hard-boiled egg.
With
Kind
Oh,
of like
the crunchy egg. The crunchy egg.
yeah, it's got half a duck egg.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's beyond my limit. That is beyond. That's the only thing
it's
I've ever
got-
had
so
that
it's
was
got like
beyond
a-
my limit.
So it's got like a little
Yeah.
duck embryo in there.
It's a fetus in there.
No, it's a fetus. It's basically like eating an abortion.
God.
No, Jesus Christ!
It's an
Like
egg.
you can feel the bones, and it's boiled. So what's supposed to be white is all black and green.
It's a grey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all grey inside.
It's
Manky as hell.
that is the most horrible thing that any human can eat. Like that is the only reason I'm going like no. No.
And this is coming
I don't
from.
care.
and this
I
is-
don't care if they take offense. This is just fucking wrong.
And this is coming from fermented shark man. You know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, mate.
Crunchy
Where's
eggs.
fermented shark? Was that in South Korea?
No, we actually, and he's got it wrong. It's not shark. It's whale. So fermented whale. Fermented whale penis is a delicacy on Iceland. For real, dude.
Yeah,
And
if
it's,
you go on Jartan's Instagram, you can see him like this.
dude, I couldn't even lift that thing.
Has anyone tried the thrumming, the Swedish stinky fish that they have?
That's
I
what
have it every fucking autumn, mate.
What?
Of
You
course,
eat-
I have it. Yeah, it's really good.
It's not.
It is.
It sounds filth. It sounds filth.
It smells like dirty nappies and vomit and dog shit.
That sounds like my everyday at the minute.
And rotten fish. It's like the most putrid smell in the world. But to cheer you all up, when Nigel Farage had his big Nazi rally on the 31st of January to celebrate leaving the European Union, most successful and biggest trading union in history, me and my mate Robin from the EU Flag Mafia, we stank bombed the whole place out with 4 cans of thrumming that were brought over from Sweden for us by Kieran Banman.
It's
Speaking of,
surströmming.
So they were all there in Parliament Square, and they were the type of people who don't move at gigs. You know, the people who just stand there with their arms folded. I'm not moving. I've been here for 10 minutes, and this is my place. And even if you're trying to get out to go to the bar, they won't move. And so standing there, and it absolutely reeked of dirty fish guts. And they were like, "No, I'm going to sing the first line of Rule Britannia because that's all I know." Yeah.
And then everybody goes, rule.
Jartan.
Yep.
Speaking of Farage, did you see his interview of Andrew Neil today or yesterday?
Nope.
Where he was talking about Trump's calling for voter fraud, and he's saying, "Is there any evidence?" And he said, "Well, it's too new for there to be any evidence." He went, "Well, how can you claim there's a voter fraud when you've got no evidence?" It was so embarrassing. So
I hate that
embarrassing.
man. I hate him.
I'm going to try and find the footage while you all talk amongst yourself.
I can actually tell you the worst story about surströmming that you'll ever fucking hear.
Oh, go on.
So a couple of years back, my grandmother had to move into an elderly home because she's she's got dementia bad, so she had to She had to move, and we started cleaning out her house.
Oh no.
Yeah, so we went down in her basement and we started cleaning this shit up. And my dad comes home like, dude, look what I found. And it was this can of surströmming. And it's been sitting there so long, so the gases has started. So it looked like basically a bowl. Yeah, it's a tin can. Yeah, so because of all the gases that are built in there was so much pressure in there. It basically didn't look like a flat can. It was like a bowl. Like, it was just ready to burst. And then we checked the expiration date on this thing. And these things can stand for 10 years, right?
Oh, no.
This expired 12 years earlier, so it was more than 22 years old since production date. And this is already the smelliest fucking thing in the world. And now it's been sitting there for 22 fucking years, at least, until the fact that it started bulging out. And because Norway has really strict environmental laws, you can't actually throw this in the garbage. You will actually be fined if you throw a tin can in the garbage. So you have to go into and put it in the proper bin, right?
Oh, you gotta open it.
So we had to open it. And there's a film somewhere. I'll try to find it because my dad filmed as I'm opening this, and there's so much pressure in there. It just pours all over me into my beard.
Oh man, you'd never get close. Oh.
I was standing in the shower.
I'm not even Nordic, and I know that.
No, but like I was trying to like this, but there was so much pressure in there. It just like hit my arm and like ricocheted into my face. And again, I am not picky about food because I really like surströmming, but this was a bit too much for me. And I couldn't get rid of the smell for like 2 days. I was like, is something rotten in here? And I was like, fuck, it's still my beard. What the fuck?
You gotta cut it off.
Bukkake.
You just gotta cut it off and start over at that point. That beard is dead.
Yeah,
There's no saving that beard.
You know that hand sanitizer, you know, that thing that you get oil out your which is like all it's got like that scrubby thing in it.
Yeah, with the little grit in there.
Like I had that all over my face, like to the point where like skin was actually and that was what I did.
Just gone in the bin.
No, and the hair as well. Like I had to cut my hair as well. Like there was no way I was going to get that. And the clothes.
Oh no.
I just had to chuck him out. It was fucking. It was the most horrendous thing I've ever been a part of. It was So
All right.
So let me go buy some of that now. I got a surprise for our Patreon viewers in 23 years. He's gonna try it again.
Oh.
So Graham, like being as you went to all these different countries, what country did you feel was the most dangerous? Because obviously you're going in blind, really, aren't you? So.
Well, no, I didn't. I did my research before I went in. So, for example, when I went to Somalia, I actually went to Somaliland, which is old British Somalia, as opposed to Italian Somalia, next to Djibouti, which is old French Somalia. And it's got its own flag, it's got its own constitution, it's got its own free and fair elections, amazingly, for Somalia. And basically, it does its own thing. It's got its own money. It's not a particularly dangerous part of Somalia to go to. When I went to Iraq, I went to Kurdistan in the north. I went to Erbil and Suleimania. And, you know, they've been autonomous since 1991. So they've not had any of the problems that the rest of Iraq was sort of facing at the time. When I came across the border from Turkey into Iraq, the guy at the border post, he brought me into a room and gave me a nice little shot glass of really hot tea with loads of sugar in it. He said, here's a map. He said, right, this is Kurdistan. You're very welcome. Travel anywhere you like. Didn't even need a visa. They just stamp you in 7 days when you set up at the border. And he said, but don't go to Mosul, don't go to Kirkuk, don't go to Baghdad. If we catch you, we will put you in jail. If they catch you, they will put you on YouTube. I just left it hanging.
Wow.
Like that.
Oh God.
Okay, I will not go there then. So
Message received.
That I knew was like off the charts dangerous. When I went to Afghanistan, I went to a place called Herat in the very northwest of the country. So I came down from Turkmenistan into Iran. And also, when I was traveling, I was quite fortunate that I went to all the countries in Middle East, North Africa, Arabia, before the Arab Spring. So I did it all in 2009, 2010, and the Arab Spring was 2011.
So was it your fault?
Sorry?
Was it your fault then, the Arab Spring?
Yeah. It was on me. I was treating all my mates in Tahrir Square.
This little Scouse fella turned up, fucked everything up.
I did. It was all going swimmingly till then. But yeah, a lot of the civil wars in Africa had petered out, or they had peace agreements, and there were a lot more free and fair elections going on. I was actually in Gabon when there was an election, which was a bit crazy because everyone was a bit concerned that there might be violence, but there wasn't, which is great. But I think the most dangerous country that I was aware that it was dangerous when I was there was probably Papua New Guinea, because all the Australians will say, "Oh, Papua New Guinea, it's insane, it's so dangerous that someone will just come and hack you up with a machete." And I went there. I stayed with a couple of tribes in Papua New Guinea. I had a great time. I went to a big show, the Morobe show, where all the Highlanders came down with all the feathers and all the costumes, each unique to their tribe. And I had a great time. However, having said that, while I was there, I was only there for 2 weeks. There was a plane crash, an earthquake, a tsunami warning, a riot, and a massacre.
No, see, that's you.
Trouble.
Luckily, I was a few miles down the road from all of them.
Nothing but trouble.
So,
All right, so I actually give me a second. So I actually found the video.
Oh, yes.
God.
Sweet nectar.
It's always about him, isn't it? Always about him.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
No, it's not.
It's gonna be
Take that back.
fantastic. You sure what sound?
Yeah.
No, you did.
No, I didn't. All right.
Oh, it is?
Oh, no,
I thought I
wait,
did.
something.
Give me a sec. It might be. Let's share screen. App window. It doesn't have that.
Okay. So
Shit,
it
which
should do it
sound so?
automatically.
It should do it automatically. Yeah. So, as you can see here, I'll go back a bit, and then you can see my dad hold.
Look at how he's fucking got a can opener. Like, that's the best way of viewing.
Look at that. Do you see how it's bulging out from the pressure
Oh.
inside?
Could you just chucked it against the wall?
Right.
You want to chuck it? You want to chuck it at Nigel Farage?
Yeah. So if I knew what you were gonna do, mate, I would have sent this to you.
We've still got a couple of cans. We were thinking of delivering them to Tufton.
Oh!
Fatality.
Honestly, if you know how bad that smells, that was a bad idea, man. Why didn't you do it in a bucket of water?
Chuck it against the wall and run away.
Doing that for the clicks.
Drop it off a
No,
tall
it's
building.
never been shown before. It's never been shown before. It's never been online before. And
Wow.
the fact is that
Podcast exclusive.
the point is that my dad and me, we were like, should we try to eat it? And we were actually standing there quite sometimes like, let's have some. Later in that video, he tries holding it up to one of our dogs. And the dog goes like, no, fuck that. And we were like, okay, that's the final verdict on that. We're not going to eat that shit when the dog even doesn't want to touch it.
So Graham, we've spoken about your greatest achievements, but in pre-show you wanted to talk about your greatest failures. So
I've got loads of them.
let's get on to that.
Okay, that makes a bit of a change because when I get interviewed, normally I talk about the stuff that I talked about already. Well, first of all, I'd say one of my great. After I finished the journey, I got a lot of interest because I had this TV show that was made out of my footage called Graham's World, and it was shown across the world on the National Geographic Adventure Channel. It was shown in the US on the Travel Channel. It's never been shown in the UK because I'm banned in the UK for some reason. I don't know why. But that opened some doors for me to speak to production companies in Britain and America about doing another travel show. And the furthest I got was a company in Minnesota. I won't say who it was, but they wanted to do a show with me called Around the World in 50 States. And it was a brilliant idea. It wasn't my idea, but I really loved it. I was going to travel around America, meeting all these communities from around the world that live in America. So I'll go to like New Ulm in Minnesota and meet all the German people who wear lederhosen and sausages. Or I'll be in like a paddy field with people who are from Vietnam with the hats on and they're picking rice and the camera pulls back and we're actually on the outskirts of Houston or, something like that. And I thought it was a great idea and it would be a bit of a fuck you to the whole sort of xenophobic, we don't want people from other countries lark, which I always find hilarious. It always takes me back to that cartoon. This is from the early 2000s in an Australian newspaper. And it was all these Australians on the beach in the board shorts and placards saying, boat people go home, Australia's full, immigrants not wanted. And in the foreground are two Aboriginals and one saying to the other, oh, I wish we thought of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to Minnesota and had a meeting with all these people. They were really enthusiastic. And I think they just met me and they were like, okay, this is great. This is great. We'll talk, once you're back on your island in Panama. We got back to Panama and basically I thought it was in the bag, but then they said, oh, listen, because all the people you're talking to are going to have really strong accents, it'll be really disconcerting for the viewer, for you with your Liverpool accent to be presenting. And I was like, what? And it just reminded me when Mad Max came out in America in 1979 or around then, they actually dubbed the voices because the voices were too Australian for people to understand. So they dubbed over the voices with American accents. So it wasn't so.
The proper
I just thought of that.
The right way of
the
speaking.
thing is, Graham, as soon as you said that, it reminded me of when Oasis were big in America and they put subtitles on any MTV broadcast, Liam and Noel Gallagher.
Right.
I'm not surprised. Well, when I was watching the World Cup 2010 in South Africa, when Steven Gerrard and Wayne Rooney were on the telly, the room was just like looking at me going, what are they saying? And I was translating.
Don't watch cricket.
The second sort of mad failure was in 2017. I wrote to my MP in Liverpool, who's a Labour MP called Stephen Twigg at the time. And
Question. What is an MP?
Member of Parliament.
Your acronym shall cast them about so liberally.
My MP. And
Graham, we have to educate the Americans.
Yeah. It's like representative here.
I wrote to him in early 2017 and said, listen, if you vote with the Conservatives, the other party, to enact Article 50, which will take us out of the EU, without any safeguards, amendments, or provisos to protect the rights of British citizens living in Europe and European citizens living in Britain, then I will stand against you in the next election. Thinking, this is a funny thing on my private island in Panama. Send. And I put a copy of this onto my Facebook page because, this is funny. There isn't going to be an election until 2020, and that's years away. I mean, so then literally a couple of months later, Theresa May called a snap election in the March. So my phone was just ringing off the hook. People ringing up going, so you're going to stand? Are you going to stand? Are you going to stand? I'm like, for God's sake. And because I'm such an idiot, I just went, well, I said I would, so I will. So I stood for Parliament. I got about 2 votes, and one of them was me, and the other one was my mum. And I got beaten for 36,000 votes because West Derby, where I grew up, is like the safest Labour seat in the country. So yeah, that was my second big failure. And then
you almost got him. You almost got him. You had him.
Next time, you'll get him next time.
You had him right where you wanted him. You had him right where you wanted him.
It's starting to turn.
Look, anyone can dream. I mean, look, Joe Biden, he's like 77 years old and he's running for president. So, there's still time. My third and like probably the most devastating failure for me personally was in the summer of 2017. I decided to set a new Guinness World Record because I realized that no one had just got the record for the fastest journey to every country in Europe without flying. So I thought, God, I could get that. I could get that record. So I spent ages going through all the guidebooks and the shipping schedules and train timetables. And I made this plan and I managed to get from Iceland to Cyprus in less than 3 weeks without flying, all on boats. And I had to go to Malta, I had to go to Russia, and I had to go to Northern Ireland because that was on my list. And then when I submitted all my evidence to Guinness World Records, they went, what are you doing? Going to Cyprus? That's not part of Europe. And I went, it's part of the European Union. And they went, yeah, but, Australia's in the Eurovision Song Contest and Kazakhstan's in Europe. No skin off our nose. It's like, well, can't you just count the time it took me to get up to that point? And they're like, no, because you went to Turkey as well. That's not part of Europe. And I went, hang on. That little part that's attached, Istanbul's on one side and it's on the other. It's the city that straddles 2 continents. I'm pretty sure that's in Europe. And they went, yeah, but not enough of it is in Europe. And I'm like, Russia. Most of Russia is in Asia. And the only reason why we say it's Europe is because Peter the Great wanted a window on the West like 500 years ago. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. So basically my record didn't stand. And I want to do it again at some point. But thanks to the machinations of Nigel Farage and Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson and Michael Gove and lots of tits who went to very posh public schools and are millionaires, but men of the people. Obviously, don't forget they're men of the people, even though they wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire, unless they could piss petrol. So because of
Graham,
I'm going to be able to do it next year without a visa.
Graham, I'm sensing a bit of hostility and bitterness towards a couple of people.
Really?
I have another question. So they didn't give you the record because you went to too many countries?
Yes. No, it's better than that.
How
long did it take
what?
How long did it take you to get up to Greece? And I went 19 days. And they said, okay, we're going to set the record for 18 days. What? No one's done it. No one's done it. And they went, yeah, but we have to make it a challenge. And I'm like, oh.
Wow.
So, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm banned from getting an ESTA to visit the USA. I'm banned from going there with an ESTA for life. I need a visa, even if I'm just changing planes. I got my first US ESTA when they first came in, I think in January 2012, I think they first came in. And they run for 2 years. And I was off the coast of the Northern Mariana Islands, and they wouldn't let me off the boat because I didn't have a visa, and this rule had just come in. So I'm like on the top deck of the boat trying to get a phone signal to try and get a visa so I can just like walk around the dock. And then, the second one I got, no problem. I think that was when I was going over for the game show that I was on. And then I tried to get another one because I was coming home from Panama. And normally it's just you apply and then they send you a message a few hours later saying, yeah, it's no problem. And I didn't get any message back. And I'm like, shit. And they give you a link and you got to keep going there. And it says just processing. 2 weeks later, I'm on the way to the bloody airport in Panama City, frantically refreshing this damn thing. And it goes, you've been denied. You can't have a visa, which means I couldn't change planes in America. Even though I was going back home, I was going back to the UK. And so I had to cancel my flight, get a new flight via Europe. And the reason why they kicked me off the list is because retroactively they had put Sudan on the list of countries that you weren't allowed to go to if you wanted to go to America. And I tried to apply and they said, have you been to any of these countries in the last few years? And I said, yeah, I've been to Sudan. I've traveled through. And they said, okay, well, you can't have an ESTA then.
So what year was that?
That was 2016. So in the December of that year, I think, well, I'm going to meet up with my publisher of my book, Man of the World, which is available in all bad bookshops and good ones as well. And plug. And he lives in Ohio. So he drove from Cleveland to Niagara Falls. I flew into Toronto and I went down to the falls to meet him. We went across the Rainbow Bridge together because you don't need an ESTA to enter America overland. Together. I was still on their system. So I was interrogated by Homeland Security for the best part of 3.5 hours. Oh. They scanned my eyes, they took penis measurements, they wanted to know my size and who everyone had ever slept with, and they wanted the pattern for my phone so they could look in my phone. And I'm like, I'm not checking my phone, go away. But yeah, basically.
Is it because of Trump's Muslim ban?
No, this is pre-Trump. This is Obama.
Okay.
No, all of our travel is very different than it used to be thanks to 9/11. Yeah. Like Homeland Security has been given more and more power, and the Patriot Act means that they can take me or Brenna out of our homes right now, claim Patriot Act, and we have no legal recourse.
Yeah, no, I spent some time between 2006 and 2008 in America, and I was not fully dressed on a single airport for those 2 years.
Well, that's probably why they interrogated you.
No, this was in a private room with somebody with a rubber glove on every single time. I am never having a prostate exam done ever again.
You have to have a doctor for that.
You know, they're supposed to.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
You know, if a guy asked you that in the parking lot, he's not with the airport.
Yeah.
What?
He doesn't work there.
Next to you in the toilet and put something through a hole.
All right. Time for your inspection. It's like, did you work here, sir? Yeah.
Am I
Homeland
supposed
Security,
to
I'm
ask
off.
am I supposed to ask people that?
Yeah, I would start with a "Do you work here?"
Oh, okay.
He's got a string vest on, but he's wearing a lanyard, so it's fine.
So, Bob and Bill in Kentucky, please call me back. I miss you guys.
Oh, you know they blocked you, homie. He's gotten wise. Brennan, do you have any questions? We've been stomping all over you.
Yeah, I was actually more. We were talking about the food culture of several of these countries. What about the drinking culture of some of these countries?
Awesome, pretty much everywhere apart from Saudi Arabia. The drinking culture in South Korea is probably my favorite because they just want to get you drunk. That you'll meet someone and the first thing they want to do is get you drunk.
All right, now let's stay here. Let's stay here and let's dig in.
That's what I wanted to know.
I live quite close to Scotland and I love whiskey. So, I mean, Scotland's always got a place in my heart for that.
That's right, you people, Scotland.
I find Australia, weirdly enough, is a very, very bad place to go drinking because it's really expensive. Mm-hmm. It makes you go all fizzy for some reason. And you can't go on pub crawls because it's got this really strict rule about not going into a pub when you're drunk or a bar when you're already drunk. So you can't go from bar to bar to bar. You just got to basically stay where you are. And I got caught out a couple of times in Australia where I went out of the pub to make a phone call because it was too noisy in the pub and they wouldn't let me back in. I'm like, but me mates are in there, my coach's in there. And they're like, well, call them up and get them out. And I'm like, but
then they're going to come outside to answer the call and then they're That's how it's a coat racket. Yeah. They've just been stealing everybody's coats.
You have to bribe somebody to let you back in.
I think that South Korea is pretty much like China because that was the experience when I was in China as well. Because I had to learn that if you drink your whole drink, they'll keep filling it up.
Yeah.
But if you
you can't refuse a drink. You can't refuse a drink.
But
either.
you can leave a little in the glass and then they won't fill it up. That means that you're full. Like, which is basically what we don't do. Like, if you like the food and you like the drink, you like finish it, right? That's sort of what we do. But over there, if you leave a little on your plate or a little in your glass, they won't keep filling it up. I was on my 4th fucking day bender when somebody told me, like, if you don't drink all of it, I'm like,
well, what about? But we have
to. But it tastes good to me.
China's where I inadvertently ate some dog. I was on a bus on the way from Nanning to Hong Kong, and we stopped off somewhere at like 11 o'clock at night. And I went in, and it's all in Chinese, so I just looked at the picture and went, oh, that, it was meat on a bed of rice. And I sort of started eating it, and this meat tastes absolutely disgusting. I mean, it tastes like a solid part. And I start pushing it to one side and just eating the rice, just eating the boiled rice. And as I'm eating the rice, something in the rice, so I sort of move the rice off. There's a cooked paw in the rice. There's you can see the claws on the end of it. It's a cooked, and I'm like, to the guy next to this dog, and he's like, and I'm like, woof woof, and he's like, yeah, woof woof, dog, yeah.
Oh,
my dog is judging you. My dog is.
I was going to say, Charles, how are things on your end?
Yeah, no, my dog is judging you bad right now. But it was the same thing when you, in a lot of the Asian countries like South Korea and China and Vietnam, when you went to McDonald's, because every now and then you just like, oh, Jesus Christ, I just want a burger. And you start eating that burger and you go, what sound did this meat make when it was alive? Because I don't think it said moo. Was it meow or woof or maybe?
Well, to be fair, here in the States,
that's actually a line from Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. He asks exactly the same question of something that he eats in India. He says, "Did it meow?"
Yeah, No, this is like, I don't think this thing said moo.
Pop quiz, everyone. Who was the first person to go around the world in 80 days?
Nellie Bly.
Yes, well done. And she did it in 73 days. Quite remarkable. And she was the first investigative journalist.
Yeah.
Like amazing stuff. The first person to cycle around the world was also a woman. And it's when people go, could you do what you did if you were a woman? And I'm like, well, I think you could. I mean, probably have to take some more precautions. But
yeah, it'd be harder these days.
That women travelled in the Victorian era when things were unarguably a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
But would it be harder these days, though, Brenna? Like,
I think there when it comes to there are certain countries that women can't even enter without like proper identification. It would be just there. I'm not saying that everywhere. I'm saying there are certain places that are almost completely off limits, especially to American women. Americans are not welcome very many places.
When I was in Mauritania, I think there'd just been a travel ban for Americans, and getting to Cuba from America was an absolute bloody nightmare. I had to apply to the Treasury of America for some reason because of the 1912 Trading with the Enemy Act, something mad like that. Basically, I couldn't go over there with an American skipper on an American boat, or they might literally throw that skipper in jail when they got back. So no one wanted to take me from Key West. I was put on the wrong foot by that Michael Moore movie, Sicko, in which he just up in Key West, he goes, I'm getting on a boat to Havana, and he jumps on the boat, and then he goes to Havana, and I'm like, oh, I'll just do that then. But actually, a lot more difficult in real life. You're best going to Cancun in Mexico. Wink, wink.
There's a question.
There is a question. Yeah. So, did you go to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea?
Yes.
Also known as North Korea.
I went like a meter into it. So, you've got two ways of going to Korea if you want to go to North Korea. One is to sign up with Young Pioneers Tours in Beijing, and they do 3-4 day tours where you go to Pyongyang and you get shown around. But it cost at the time, it cost $1,500. I think it might cost even a bit more now. Or you can, when you're in South Korea, you can just take a trip to the demilitarized zone, the DNZ, and they have these huts that straddle the border, and you go into the hut and you walk to the far side of the hut, and technically speaking, you're in North Korea. And I did check with Guinness World Records before I did it to make sure that they were happy with that. Otherwise, I would have gone the long ass way round. But
did you go to the real demilitarized zone, or did you go to the fake one where they did where you do pictures? Because there's a
fake one where you do pictures, but it's technically the same thing. I mean, they do have people running across the border now and again. Quite a few trying to get from North Korea, obviously, but some coming from South Korea because they're like, I hate this freedom and nice freedom.
Yes.
I want to starve for a dear leader. People are mad. As we're seeing, because 70 million Americans have voted for Trump. Oh, he's my favorite pedophile. Oh, I love it when he actually rapes children. That's great. Keep doing that. Here's my vote.
And
these people pages. Love those kids.
They're gonna get it to heaven. I'm like, I just can't wait to see their faces. Not that heaven exists, but if it did, say Peter's there, with the list, and he's like, you voted for someone who admitted to sexually assaulting women. Yeah. You voted for a man who put children in cages. Yeah. You voted for a man who took 500 children away from their parents and now they're orphans because of him. Yeah. Okay. Big lever. Floor open. And in a lake of shit for the rest of eternity. Bye.
And to quote Rowan Atkinson, you'll be having me standing down there with a pitchfork going like, see you at the barbecue, boys.
You seem to be sitting on your fence with your political views.
I know. I'm like Jeremy Corbyn, aren't I? Another privately educated wanker. Oh, it's like a man of the people. It's like when you meet someone who's like filthy rich, but they're all right, like their attitude's okay, and you start thinking, oh, maybe they're not like the rest of the entitled rich little shits that are out there. But no, it turns out he's an entitled rich little shit. But what can you do?
Speaking
mind-blowing when you start looking into the Trumocracy of the United Kingdom, which is just jobs for the boys, the nepotism, the old boys network that runs this country. When you have a situation that 2/3 of the British government, the cabinet, went to went to public school, which is what we call
Weird, that.
private schools.
Speaking of rich fucks, it's time for the mid-roll. Brenna taking the center stage. It's Patreon time.
Hello, everybody in Patreon world. We are continuing to need more patrons here. So this is what you are going to do right this very second. Everybody, open up your browsers.
Okay, hold on. Got it.
You are going to go to patreon.com.
Do I need the W's?
The Bin Podcast. No, we are an advanced society.
Okay, I won't do the W's then. Fine. You don't have to say it like that. So .patreon.com. I'm there.
/ the Bin Podcast.
SLASH.
I'm not doing this, Mikey. I have no patience for you. That's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the Bin Podcast and you're going to sign up for one of our wonderful tiers. Please, somebody, for once, just 1 month.
1 month.
1 month. Give us $100 for the chicken show, people. 100 once, and that's it. You don't have to worry about any time after that. You don't have to be a patron after that. Just give us the $100. Let's do the chicken show, and
we'll need to explain to our guests what the chicken show is after this, Brenna. But please.
We will, but that's not my job.
I don't even know what I'm gonna do if somebody gives me $100 for fuck's sake.
Oh, we've got some ideas. Don't you worry about that.
So,
I am very worried about that.
So let's go through our current patrons. Please, I want to stop doing this. So can we just fill this shit out enough so that I don't have to do this again?
She loves doing this. It's her favorite thing.
Tired of reading off these names. So I
need
more names. More names so that I don't have to do this. So we have tons of mice.
Woo-woo!
Who I believe is watching currently.
Yep.
We have Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
We have Miss Nana.
Hey, Miss Nana.
Miss Nana.
We have David.
David.
We have Katarina.
Katarina.
We have Stuart.
What?
We have Austin.
Volvo.
Austin.
We have Reddy. We have Kristen. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Boo! No, I'm just kidding. I love you, baby.
Oh, she heard that.
She's coming in the garage right now. So
I'm telling her. I'm telling.
She'll skip over this part, I'm sure.
And Richard, of course. So
Richard!
Patreon.com / the Bin Podcast. Sign up for a tier. Sign up for the chicken show, please. Somebody needs to do this. And we'll see you back on the stream.
Thanks,
Happy days. Graham,
Right.
do you have anything coming up? Anything pending?
Yes, I've decided to start doing, because we're in lockdown today. Remember
Yay!
the November, stay at home, motherfuckers. Basically, that doesn't rhyme, does it?
No.
We're going to be in lockdown for another month. So what I'm going to do, on the day of the election this week, on Tuesday, I stayed up all night as the results came in. I was kind of interested in what happened in Florida because I knew we'll get the result for that night. And if it was for Biden, then it would have been, but it wasn't Trump. So it's a bit going to bed and a bit, yeah. But I stayed up till 5 o'clock doing a one-man show. And during that, people were like, oh, this is great. You should do more of this. So last night, I did my first Hughes at 10, which is, it's not pictures of me when I was 10 years old. It's me.
Oh, that's good.
Podcast.
They will take you off
at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
they will kick you off of YouTube for that. You will be bad.
They will. So I did, and so basically it's a half-hour show, although it's probably going to overrun, and I interact live with people leaving comments on YouTube. So if you go over to my Twitter account, which is @everytree, I'll be putting a link up there very soon after I stop talking to you guys. And you can watch me on my channel on YouTube. If you want to find that, it is That Ginger Scouser. That with a H, not twat. Ginger Scouser. And Scouser is someone from Liverpool, so it's SCOUSER. If someone could put that on the screen down here, that'd be great.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
There, every country.
You a bad.
Right. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah. So that's coming up soon at 10 o'clock. Use at 10.
And I
Stay
think
tuned.
we'll all be watching because by the time we've finished here, we'll be. There you go.
Is it at Ginger Scouser?
No, it's just youtube.com/that Ginger Scouser. TH that. True story.
And what's going on in your show?
Pardon?
What's going on in your show? Just general news.
Yeah, just me talking about. It's just me going on rants about things.
I've never done that.
It's not like you've got form for that.
No, not at all.
We have a question from one of our viewers. So, Doorknobhead says, "I can't help but wonder, does that couch have any stains? It looks like it isn't very stain resistant."
Does that what?
Does that couch have any stains on it? It does not look very stain resistant.
Strange question.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to the Bin Podcast.
Can you do it? Oh, that's so cute.
Wow.
That question comes from our dear friend Doorknobhead, who has the most ridiculous sense of humor of any Earthling I have ever met. I don't
Are
know
you
who's
sure?
worse,
I can start telling jokes again.
Oh, please.
No.
Please don't.
You're banned from telling jokes.
No, your jokes are so bad. And he just cracks up. Like he was tearing up in the pre-production meeting on some of the just worst jokes.
The Abu Dhabi ones still get me. I'm still fucking laughing about that one.
Pathetic.
This is wrong.
I want to make a joke book, a compendium of jokes from one from every country in the world. That'd be great. Or one about someone from every country. But I don't think people know that much about Paraguay.
I've got a Swedish one. Do you know how many sweets it takes to screw in the light bulb?
God, here we go.
No.
I have no IKEA.
This is what we have to deal with.
I'm ashamed.
Has anyone got a tumbleweed sound effect?
Why is it always cold in a Mexican's house?
I don't know.
Because they only have chicken fajitas.
Oh no.
No? What?
Well, you popped someone on here, but it ain't the rest of us.
Oh look, he's done. You've broken
Do
up.
the Americans know what Y fronts are? Do you know what Y fronts are? Do you have them in America?
Wide fronts?
Y
Y fronts. I think you call them
like
underpants.
underpants.
Mighty whities, underpants.
Oh,
What you call
underwear? Like briefs?
Yeah.
Like ball crusher briefs.
Yeah, briefs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just briefs. Tidy whities or
Okay.
briefs, yeah.
Okay, so why should you never wear ball crushers in Ukraine? Because Chernobyl fallout.
Sorry.
This is,
I don't know who's worse.
Oh
this is
no.
bad.
These are
So this has been a bin podcast.
No, this is great. Like I could do this all day.
Oh, he's so
Let's
happy.
go.
Let's not. Let's just.
Oh.
He's got real tears up there. Like
No, I love this. It's like, how do you make a tissue dance?
Give it a little boogie. Come on.
Put a little boogie in it.
Oh, it's just so nasty. It's just nasty.
It's wrong. It's wrong on so many levels.
Oh, it's so
You see the viewer count going down and down.
Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed on my
Noises.
YouTube channel, because when lockdown first started, the first one in March, I started doing some travel stuff again, and I just watched my subscriber levels just going down and down. So they watch me rant about things. I think they find it cathartic, me just going off my head.
You see, this is
Hate
the
of the
thing.
world.
Yeah.
I discovered Graham because you did your Free Bloke in a Pub podcast, which was about
Porno.
Brexit.
I mean the podcast, yeah.
Yeah, don't put that into the
OnlyFans.
deviant. Don't put that into the deviants.
I knew it was gonna get spun back to me somehow. I just felt a disturbance in the force, and I knew I was going to be the butt of this joke.
But Graham
But of it, yes, you are.
God
Graham
damn
popped
it.
onto my radar because he started doing this Free Blokes in a Pub podcast, which was basically sort of an anti-Brexit podcast using facts, logic, reason, and I don't know, the truth. And I
What the
was like,
fuck is that?
Don't know.
And copious
Fake
amount of
news,
alcohol.
fake news.
oh yeah, at times
Alternative
copious amount of
facts.
alcohol.
That was remarkable. We went to Geneva. We went to the World Trade Organization in Geneva. We spoke with the government of Gibraltar. We went to Stormont Assembly building in Northern Ireland. We went to Dublin. Met
Fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved
Good
it.
Friday Agreement. I mean, it was just that we met politicians. I met lords and councillors and all these people around the UK, and no one, not a single person, would give me a legitimate reason why Brexit would be a good idea. Not one.
Yeah.
And I found that really remarkable. People gave shit reasons, like it made them feel good. I think they think, these old people, they just think that Brexit or Trump or whatever is going to bring their erections back, and it won't. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, and you know the thing that makes me laugh now is that especially on LBC, they're running adverts about if you trade with Europe, you need to do this. It's like it's a month away. It's a month away.
I
It is absolutely shocking. And
that's my biggest failure, is not stopping Brexit. But I had the forces of the Trumocracy against me. You know, the tripartite of coming and Farage, Corbyn, and Johnson.
But
and everyone goes, "Oh, they're lovely. I love them. I love them."
But now that we know this is happening, we know that this is happening. How do you see it going forward? And Mikey, if you don't mind, if you can do the other layouts, we can have it, because I also want to have Wayne's perspective on this. So, because I actually live in the real world, means Europe.
Thank you.
And it's still a part of it, and will be. How do you see this going forward? Let's start with Graham. What differences will you see now that your trade agreements expires? What is it, January 1st, right?
Yeah. Basically, there's two ways it can go. We either get no deal, which I don't think would happen, or we'll get a really, really, really shit deal for Britain, which I think will happen. But either way, we're going to have huge hold-ups at the port as things come in and out, and people just don't realise, because unfortunately a lot of people have never left their village. You know, that they grow up in the village, they marry their sister, they they get into a fight behind a...
Don't you come here and talk about me, sister.
Declare themselves a man of the world, and then you sort of go, well, hang on. You're talking about giving up our seat at the top table of the top trading organization, the top trading union in history in the world, and we're going to give that up, and we're going to get better trade deals with other countries. Now, here's the big problem with that. There's only about 36 countries that are seen as having advanced economies by the IMF. Okay, so this is important if you want to lend money off the IMF. They have advanced countries, they have developing countries, and then in the middle they have emerging countries, economies. And we're at the moment, we're in that block of 36 countries that have got advanced economies. The big problem for us is 27 of those countries that are in, 29 actually, no, 31 I think. A load of those countries are, I'm going to give you a right number here, 28. 28 of those countries are in the EU or the EEA. There's only 8 that aren't. And of those 8, the EU has trade deals with 4 of them, like, brilliant trade deals, top notch with Canada, South Korea, Japan, and Singapore. And the last 4 are New Zealand, which is tiny, 4.7 million people, and on the other side of the world. Australia, which is a big country, but actually population-wise, it's only 25 million. America, which it was working on a trade deal with, and will again if Biden wins, and Israel. There are no advanced economies in the Caribbean. There's no advanced economies in Latin America. There's no advanced economies in Africa. Not one. And then you could put and this is the scale of how things go off a cliff as soon as you leave this club. You put all 54 countries of Africa together, all of their economies together. So that's all the gold in a year from South Africa, the diamonds from Botswana, the oil from Angola, put it all together, the GDP of all those countries combined is less than 3/4 of the GDP of France, just France. So we can piss around for the next 10 years making trade deals with Rwanda and Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo, but we're not going to be able to replace that trade that we had.
Fuck all. It's fuck all.
And even if we get a top-notch deal with America, which we're not going to get, but even if we got a top-notch deal with them, then it would only add about 1% to our trade.
Yeah, but what I would say is, like, for you to have a top deal with America, you actually need the leverage of the EU.
Yes, got no leverage.
Yeah, so without the leverage of Germany, France, Norway with the oil and the fish, and Sweden with the trucks and the cars and the wood and all that, because we have a lot of wood in Sweden, just so you know.
Don't need Viagra.
So you would need all of that leverage. But what I want to say is, like, do you want to do a quick explanation of the difference between the EU and the EEA?
Okay, the EU is...
Because we have American listeners, so it might be beneficial.
So the EU, Europe is essentially 50 countries, give or take. 27 of
44.
The EU, which is 27 countries, and basically within that area, you have freedom of movement. So I could go and live and work and get married and retire and build a house or buy a house or start a business in any of those other countries if I was part of the EU. We've moved away from that now. Now, the EEA is not in the EU, but it pays into the EU in order to get some of the perks from the EU. And it's also part of some EU things like the Schengen area. So Norway's part of Schengen and
Switzerland.
Schengen. However, if you have cargo and you're trying to get it across the border from Sweden into Norway, you'll be stopped at the border and they'll go, we'll have a look at this, and you have to fill out some paperwork, which you don't have to do or didn't have to do if you were moving stuff from Britain to France, for instance. Now we're going to have to fill out paperwork for everything. I mean, they might have checked it for drugs or refugees or something like that, but you don't have to declare everything in the back of your truck. It's just like moving stuff from Liverpool to Manchester, or in the case of America, moving stuff interstate. So essentially what's happened is America's 50 states, and you're allowed freedom of movement of services, of capital, of people across those 50 states. Nothing stops you from going over the border, except maybe you might have some oranges in the boot of your car that you're not allowed to take across state lines. Apart from that, you're free to move. Now, if one part of America, if Vermont said, we want to be our own country with our own passports and our own borders, the amount of paperwork that would take and the amount of bureaucracy and the cost to Vermont would be staggering, but it would also cost the rest of the United States of America a lot of money as well. And that's what Britain is doing.
Yeah,
exactly. I was going to get to that, but the main difference is that you had a very beneficial deal in the EU. You were not part of the Schengen, so for me,
not part of Euro.
Not part of the Euro community, you were allowed to keep your pound. I would still have to bring my passport to get into your country. I could not use my EU license to get into your country. I would have to bring a passport.
Oh, you could use an ID card. It depended where you were from.
Yeah, but because I'm Norwegian, I would have to bring a passport. Into Sweden, my regional ID is good enough, but because of the special rules that you had, I would have to bring a passport to get into UK because I'm a Norwegian citizen. So you had a very special deal that was very beneficial for you, and the EU agreed to that. But when forming the EU back in 1946, 1948, somewhere around there, when the EU got formed. The Great Britain got a very beneficial deal and got a lot of perks.
We got a massively bespoke deal that we don't actually realise that we got such a good deal.
And if now Great Britain realises, we fucked up and they want to go back, all the balls are in the EU's corner right now.
They're like this right now.
Yeah, they are going to. They are not going to be mucking about. They are going to rip you fucking open. You have to be a part of the Euro community. which is the currency within the EU. You will have to be a part of the Schengen Agreement, which means that everybody who's a part of the EEA, the Schengen, or the EU can travel freely back and forth and have a job without any stipulations whatsoever to get into your country. So all of these things that you had going for you, that was good for you staying in the EU, because there's quite a big of a difference between Switzerland and Norway, who's never been a part of the EU, has only been a part of the EEA. And we have to remember what wealth there actually is in these two countries, and that's why I'm using them. I think...
And to be fair, the countries that are in the UK wouldn't have us anyway.
Yeah, but the UK will never rejoin the EU. It will never rejoin because the UK is going to stop existing as a country. There will be no more country called Great Britain.
I think that you are correct, sir.
After probably 2023 or 2024, because Scotland's going to leave. Scotland voted to stay in the EU. They're mad as hell because at the moment they have free trade with the EU. They don't have any, border stops or anything like that. They have great level of standards for their foods. Because you're asking first of all how my life's going to change. Well, first of all, food is going to get really scarce very quickly. And then we're going to get flooded with cheap food from America. That's chlorinated chicken, hormone-injected beef.
Here's your plastic.
Thank you, Brenna.
Here's your plastic-coated plastic, individually wrapped for your
seriously. You know what?
pleasure.
Enjoy what you get.
You could set up a farm in Indiana called British Foods, and then you could have that on sale in Britain, and it would have a little Union Jack on it. It'll say British Foods, but it'd be from Indiana. And so... we won't know what's in our food because they want to get rid of all the packaging to tell you, what's in it. If it's good
the nutrition facts, which is a part of the EU stipulation that you do have to have. Yeah,
we're going to see some commodities going up in price like crazy, but we're also going to see other commodities come crashing down in price because if you talk to a Brexiteer, they'll sometimes say, the EU it's a big protectionist club, and I'm like, yes, you absolute gargling idiot. It's protecting you fucking moron. You just ding. Man on the fucking moon. It's called the European Union. And so there's a guy in Britain who makes folding bikes, which he sells for 750 quid. And he found out the other day, he's a bit of a Brexit type, and he found out the other day that because they're getting rid of the dumping rules, which is cheap knockoffs from China being allowed to be sold in the EU, basically, the Chinese are going to make a load of bikes for 250 quid.
Put him out of business.
And they're going to put him out of business next year.
Yeah, but we also have to look at the reason that Scotland, which would never benefit from exiting the EU, because what is the biggest industry that you have in Scotland? The biggest industry. Well, yeah, but except for
whiskey's 20% of our entire food and drink export for the whole nation, not just Scotland. 20%.
But you also have the ship wharfs, right?
Yes.
Which
and
need
and the fish.
Yeah, and the fish.
Fucking fish.
60% of fish that are landed in Scotland are shipped to the EU.
Yeah, and then you have a ship force which needs to import the iron and everything to build ships, and all of the stuff that they need to build the ships needs to be imported because you don't create enough iron ore within your own country, which is now going to be taxated and all of that. So Scotland is fucking in the shitter because of the exit of the EU. Their whole basis of economy, which has created that great economy. The Bank of Scotland is the richest bank in the world. Last time I checked, I don't know if that's changed.
Well,
but
let's face it, Scotland have been dragged into this, kicking and screaming because of people like Farage and your man from Weatherspoons and all them sort of cunts.
He's privately educated as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just jumping this because it drives me absolutely mad. Every time someone is on the TV and they piss me off, I look up online what school they went to, and 9 times out of 10, in fact, 93 times out of 100, they went to a private school. And I'm thinking, fuck, do they teach the kids in these schools? Is it just to be an entitled little shit for the rest of your life? Is it to be a narcissist? Is it to have no compassion? Are they teaching geography and English and the normal subjects? Or do they just teach you how to be a twat? I want to know. But I can't believe that these institutions are charities. You go, oh, well, we let a couple of poor kids in, so we're a charity. You don't have to pay any tax. So the British taxpayer is subsidising rich little shits like our future Farages and our future Johnsons. Don't forget, Johnson wasn't born in this country. He was born in New York. And Farage got German passports for his 2 children. So they can continue with their rights and privileges as EU members. But we can't.
So
Our kids can't.
So I have
I have to. Sorry, I just fact checked myself. So it's the RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland, which is the.
Hang on. So RBS, wasn't that not bailed out by the government?
Yes.
Did we not own
Yes.
that a bit?
Yes, you did.
So-
But it is still the highest ranked major retail and commercial bank in the world. So.
Talking of banking, do you know how much money and assets have been moved from the United Kingdom into the EU over the last few years? Does anyone have a figure on that?
I don't want to speculate. I know you're all over these numbers, so I'm not going to speculate.
Right, so 1 billion is 1,000 million. 1 trillion is 1 million million. And to give you some idea of how much 1 trillion is, if you had a stack of £50 notes on the ground, single stack, £50 notes, if it was 1 trillion of them, it would be 5 times higher. The stack would be 5 times higher than the International Space Station. And we have shipped out from this country 1.2 trillion pounds into the EU because of Brexit. The GDP of the entire planet is 64 trillion pounds. That gives you just an idea of the wealth that has now left our nation. And you tell people this, and they go, oh, yeah, money moves around all the time. And you're like, well, why did they have to go to the High Court then? Why did Barclays have to go to the High Court and say, we want to move 200 billion euros out of our bank in London and move it to Dublin? And what's your plan for getting it back? Because they haven't got one.
This is the thing, Graham.
We'll be all right.
We're dealing in logic, facts, and reason. They're dealing in emotionalism, traditionalism, and this rose-tinted vision of what Britain was in the 1950s.
So
Yes.
I have some basic Brexit questions because you guys are speaking in code to me in a lot of way, and you guys just nod along, and you guys are just like, yes, the Falcon.
So, by the way, we've got to let Graham go soon because his show starts in half an hour.
Okay.
The Hughes at 10 starts in half an hour.
Okay, fair enough. So for just general knowledge here, so Brexit is the UK leaving the European Union, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the UK is Scotland, Ireland,
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Grievous.
You'll get it right, dude.
I'm asking. This is a question.
Yeah,
American
Ireland was
privilege.
split in 2. Basically, they had the referendum in the 1920s about Ireland having independence from the United Kingdom, and
The Mel
they
Gibson
voted
movie. I saw it.
overwhelmingly to leave, except for a little bit of a province in the north called Ulster. So 6 bits of the 9 bits that make up Ulster voted to stay in the UK. So a cartographer came along and drew a line around it and went, you can stay in the UK. The equivalent would be if Northern Ireland and Scotland both stayed in the EU, because when we had the EU referendum, they actually voted overwhelmingly to stay in the EU. Scotland was 63%. That's almost a super majority for staying in the EU. And they're being dragged out by these dickhead, gammon, sociopathic morons from, my country, England. So it's England, Wales, Northern Ireland, Scotland, but it won't be for much longer. Ireland's going to be reunited. It's going to be one glorious Emerald Isle, all to its own devices. Scotland's going to go its own way and rejoin the EU. I think even Wales, which seemed to be like bonded at the hip to England for so long, when they see what Brexit is going to do to their aerospace industry, when they see what it does to their farmers with 40% tariffs on their lamb, they're going to be like, oh, guys, we made a big mistake. You know, it's going to be like that moment in it's like, I made a big
Graham,
huge mistake.
Fun fact, right now, you can't go from England to Wales and vice versa.
Yes, that's true.
And
that
so
my dog?
Yeah, no, we've got a border within our borders.
Yeah, but they've done the same thing in Australia, in Victoria, and that's all part of the same country as well. I mean, I'm not that freaked out by that.
So,
but at the moment, independence for Wales is at 25%, so it's not that big. But in
Scotland, it's massive.
In Scotland, it's 55%, and Brexit hasn't kicked in yet. When Brexit kicks in, the Scots are going to be like, fuck this shit. They've got elections up in Scotland for the Scottish Parliament next year. It's going to be overwhelmingly SNP. The Tories and Labour are not going to get anywhere. And basically, they're going to have a mandate because they're going to say, we want a referendum. And they go, well, you had a referendum. You had a referendum. Yeah, but then you completely changed everything about our society, our economy, our rights, our freedoms. You took them away. So things have changed. I'm sorry, but you promised to look after us. That was your pledge on the front of all the British newspapers from the big three leaders, Nick Clegg and David Cameron, privately educated, and Ed Miliband. But they all said, "Oh, we're going to look after Scotland." And what have they done? They've put Scotland in the absolute shit by their own stupidity. And each of them has mucked up in their own way. Ed Miliband changed the rules for Labour so that anyone could pay £3 and vote for the leader. What do you think's going to happen? Do you not live in the real world? Do you not live in the world in which, I don't know, Pitbull said, I will play any concert anywhere and was sent to Alaska? Or the world where Mountain Dew said, hey, anyone got a new name for a flavour or a drink? And the winning answer was, Hitler did nothing wrong. Well, why would you allow people to get... Boaty McBoatface. All you need to know. So basically, all these people who hate Labour, who are Conservatives, they paid £3, which they make every second probably, so there's no skin off their nose, and they voted for the most unpopular politician in the world to be the leader of Labour, which is quite a remarkable achievement considering the low quality of leaders around the world. But he was the most unpopular, Jeremy Corbyn. So we had no effective opposition. A week before the EU referendum, half of the people who vote Labour didn't know whether they were for or against staying in the EU. There's an absolute monumental catastrophe of failure of leadership.
And this is something that I always ask, and I always I feel stupid asking it, because Brexit is based on that referendum that you're speaking on, right? So now that people are starting to have more information, they're more informed about these things, is it not possible to do a second one?
No.
Why not?
We tried. Because the Tories and Labour didn't want to let us have one, so we didn't.
Yeah, there was legislation passed to say that it weren't going to happen.
Jeremy Corbyn went out of his way to make sure that the Remain movement got as little support as possible from the opposition. They had 1 million people in London on 3 separate occasions, 1 million people marching against the Conservative Party's flagship policy. And Jeremy Corbyn didn't want anything to do with it. 1 million activists who would have been happy to knock on every door in their town, every door in their city, and explain to people on the doorstep why leaving the EU was a bad thing. But he didn't want us.
The thing was, there was a horseshoe-like divide, in the sense of you had the far left and the far right. They were kind of right next to each other, in the sense of, like, Jeremy Corbyn was always anti-EU, and Graham will back me up on this. He had many speeches where he was calling the EU all kinds of names.
Mechanized Frankenstein, he called it.
Yes.
Mechanized.
But you also had the people on the far right saying, oh, they're trying to make a federal Europe.
There's an EU army. Turkey's going to join.
Yeah, all the caper.
£350 million a week, which isn't true, by the way. But even if it was, we make £2 billion a week through trade with the EU. So it's like going, oh, God, how much money do I spend on this bloody house? And I just get to live in it.
Yeah.
And surely the benefits outweigh the...
Yeah, so if you got these 2 points of the horseshoe like this, right? These are at the top. These are the most vocal. These are the loudest. Most of us are down here in this sort of central cauldron. These people are up here making all of the headlines, selling all of the papers, getting everyone rolled up because they're the loudest voices in the room. And in reality, most people, most sort of right-minded right-minded people who are saying we should just stay in, just crack on. It's all about just cooperation, getting on with each other. And the people on the far left were saying, "Oh no, they're trying to take over and run everything." And the people on the far right were saying exactly the same, but from different perspectives. And now you've got these two crowds arguing against each other. It's box office in the media, so they're focusing all their attention on this, and we end up with Brexit. You guys end up with Trump. Same
Yep.
dynamic. Same dynamic. Because
all you hear about
the Russians,
all you hear about is the far right and Antifa. That's it. There's no one in the middle.
In 1997, a Russian guy called Alexander Dugin produced a book called The Foundations of Geopolitics. And in it, he laid out a roadmap for how Russia could get off its arse and become an important nation in the world again. Because basically it couldn't feed itself. They were queues for bread. It was really it was a fledgling democracy. It had lost its empire. The USSR collapsed and turned into 15 different countries. And they had breakaway republics of Dagestan and Chechnya. And
Georgia.
How do we get out of this shit? And this guy sat down and he went, here's what we've got to do. We don't have any money, but what we can do is fuck with the around the edges, in the little cracks that Western democracy has. And we will pull those cracks apart. And one of the things they wrote was they were going to foment racial tension in the United States. Check. They said they were going to separate the UK from Europe. That's in the book. It's one of their objectives. Because another thing about the EU, apart from it having most of the advanced economies in the world in it, it's also most of the members of NATO. And this is something that my mind when people think that the EU is their enemy. And they think that because for the last 30 years, the tabloid dickhead newspapers in the United Kingdom have told them that everything wrong with their lives, the fact that their wife left them for another man, is the fault of the European Union.
That's what I've been blaming.
There's only 29 members of NATO, and 21 of them are in the EU. So basically, it's made up of our biggest military allies who have signed an agreement to say that if we get invaded by Russia, they will come to our aid. It'll be the same as invading them. And yet we've turned them into the enemy. And I tell you, you speak to Brexiteers here, and they will go out of their way to defend Vladimir Putin's crimes of, killing any opposition or poisoning them, killing a British woman on British soil with their poison, shooting down a plane, annexing half of bloody Georgia into Abkhazia and South Ossetia, annexing Ukraine, the Crimea and half
Crimea Peninsula.
And it's like, how can they get away with this? And it's because people go, I like a strong leader. It's the same reason.
But also,
same
like,
reason why I like Trump.
Sorry,
Everyone loves a psychopath.
But the thing is that he's like, they kill all these people with fucking radioactive isotopes, right? And then they say, no, we had nothing to do with it. But it's not like everyday fucking muggers are running around with radioactive isotopes stacked away in their fucking pockets. So everybody fucking knows it's fucking Russia because nobody else can get their hands on radioactive fucking isotopes. Like, if you want to be covert about shit, fucking use a handgun.
It doesn't want to be covert.
No, they don't. They want you to be scared.
Yeah, exactly. But in 2017, there was the poisoning, this Salisbury in the UK, and you had this Novichok poison, which was definitely Russian. And not only did the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, say, listen, what I think we should do is get a sample of this poison and give it to them.
Send it back.
Ask them if it was them. Not only that, you also have people going, it's a bit sus, the timing. There's always, whenever anything happens, there's a fucking earthquake or there's a full moon, people go, the timing's very convenient, isn't it? And they try and link it to something that's gone on. So, something that happens with in Labour at the moment with the publication of the Equalities and Human Rights report last week, people are saying, this is to distract from COVID. I'm like, we've had 8 months of bloody COVID. I think we know about it. You know what I mean? But when the poisoning happened near Salisbury, they actually said, they went, it's because Theresa May wants to do better in the local elections. What? Oh, so this is 2018. Sorry, there wasn't the general election. 2018, and it was in March, and there wasn't these local elections for 6 weeks. Do you know what was that week? The Russian presidential election for Putin to serve another 37 terms as president of the Great Republic of Russia.
Never lost once, that guy.
It
Graham.
looked like
With
a duck.
quite a
It
good
quacked like a
margin.
duck. It's
Graham.
a duck.
Graham, I don't want to be your timekeeper, mate, but you've got a show in 15
I'm gonna go.
minutes, my man.
You
Okay,
gotta-
all right. I'm going to
Mate,
leave it
look,
at 45
it was an
past, and I'm going
absolute-
to make myself another cup of tea.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, mate, we'd love to have you again. It was really,
Thanks for putting up with my
exciting.
rants.
No.
This was
And
fun.
can everyone go and watch the Hughes at 10? Graham,
Yeah, Hughes at 10 on the Datkin Discounter channel.
happy days. Mate,
All right.
thank you so much. I know it was a bit last minute because it was only like last night that I texted
That's okay.
you. But no, thank you so much for coming
That's
on.
been
and
great.
That's great.
Please come on again.
Lovely to meet you all.
Yes. Thank you, Graham.
Cheerio.
Good, man.
Cheerio.
Hi, Graham.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was
was a good
great.
laugh.
Thanks, Graham, for coming on the show. That was very cool.
Yeah, he's a very, very passionate broadcaster, is Graham.
Yeah, he's
And he knows his shit.
I was just gonna say he's very highly educated from his
Mhm.
travels, definitely.
Yeah.
Being able to understand the world a little bit better than most of us.
I have to spend the rest.
We've got this-
I have to spend the rest of the night learning about Brexit because I kind of know most of the names y'all are saying, but I don't know their parts in the story. So more research on my part.
Yeah,
Brexit is still confusing. Like who the fuck would choose to leave?
and it's
Like, but-
It's finally coming up. I mean,
Yeah.
something's happening.
Ooh, are we gonna have a Brexit special for 56 hours?
Should we do that? Do a sort of like into the
We better
midnight,
know, it's me crying.
into the midnight.
I'll send over a case of Shiraz just to help you through these tough times.
You won't get you're not going to be able to because customs won't let it through.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucked, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
You have to start making your own.
No, don't.
Would you like some
don't.
Winemaker craft Shiraz?
Absolutely not.
No.
Tastes
Not
like
at all.
that fucking shark shit in that can that's sprayed all over the shark.
Yeah, let's
Fucking
do that.
60% alcohol and tastes like dead fish.
No, it'd just be alcohol with a grape on the top of the
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. And moonshine with one grape.
With it right in.
On the
Little floating
top.
one on top.
Drink it.
It tastes a bit like wine.
If you close your eyes and think of wine, it sort of doesn't.
You have to get COVID so that you can lose your sense of taste.
First.
So yeah,
But again, we've already went through this. Living in Britain, losing your sense of taste is not a bad
It
thing.
comes with a free COVID swab. That's pre-contaminated.
Oh, that's a selling point.
There you
You
go.
know, I was gonna go to the guy down the street, but they got the free COVID swabs on the
Yes.
Wayne Maker bottle.
Do this with your swab, right? 14 days later, you'll have a beautiful wine.
Oh, gross.
All right. I need to get more drinks. But we have one more topic to go. Well, I actually have a question for Brenna, and we have to talk a bit about the election. So, give me just a couple of seconds, and I'll.
Do we have to?
I have to earn my P stick and get some more drinks.
By the way, if you do want to watch the
Shut him
Hughes,
off. Shut him
if you
off.
do want to watch the Hughes at 10 and the BIM podcast at the same time, you can. Feel free. We'll be recording. He's live, so just flip between the two. It's fine.
No, don't watch his show. Just watch ours. He has to
No.
wait. You have to go watch
I'm
the.
doing some cross promotional shit.
Yeah. Well, he needs to have us on his show
Yeah.
He will.
so we can
Yeah.
tear up his shit.
He already said that. It's fine. So
I mean, he came on and blessed us with all this great culture. We're just gonna go over there and just get drunk and rowdy and fuck his whole fucking situation up over there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's do that now.
Whatever do you mean?
I'm just gonna pop to the toilet.
Well, look at.
Maybe we should take a break, Mike.
You know, like we could just end the show and then do an after show if everybody needs 10.
Yeah, seriously.
There we go. Now,
there we go.
Now we're looking good.
Awesome.
Let's see what he's got on this map here.
Oh. Yeah. I think Nevada just needs to call it.
Yeah.
It would just be easier that way. And Georgia looks close enough to continue having the votes in, and then Pennsylvania, the big cities have not all been counted. So we might see Pennsylvania and Georgia turn into a bluish color.
I'm still bothered by this whole electoral college thing. Like we have to figure something out.
Yeah,
because this is getting a little ridiculous.
Well, the idea, the problem with the electoral college is that land cannot vote.
Sure, it
can. In the electoral college, land can vote. But if we took it away, no longer land can vote, and now you have to go to every single person begging for their vote.
Yeah.
Now, that would mean that you have to find candidates that actually can get more of those votes. And that would be very difficult from both sides of it. It will still need to be a popular vote. So even if you have, say, 3 major parties, we have 2 major parties, and if you bring in a third one, that would mean that no matter what, you would still have a popular vote.
Yeah.
So that there's some big, huge reasons to get rid of the electoral college. One of them is land cannot vote. And so where I am in California, we have a huge population, right?
Yeah.
Not huge landmass, but more populous. And yet we only have 55 electoral votes. If you actually do by population, we're supposed to have like 100 and something.
Right.
Whereas somewhere where it's more open, like Montana, like
Boise.
Just the
looking at you, Austin. This is your fault.
If you do electoral college actually by population, California would be so much stronger, which doesn't bode well for like the Republicans.
Yeah.
Which is why they want to keep the electoral college exactly the way it is, because it still allows those central states to have more Republican power, even though they have more land mass.
And there's something to be said about not having people, like not having the complete legislative branch of the government be only from certain cities. So we can't have everything run by New York, Chicago, and LA. I can understand that point. But at the same time, it can't be that people living in states with barely any population deciding elections, because that is also grossly unfair.
Well, as we all know, and we've all read our history books, the electoral college was made because of those slaveholding states, that you could have the population, but you cannot have the votes. Like you can have 3/5 of a person, but they have absolutely zero rights. So you're voting on their behalf, kind of thing, like to make sure that they continue being enslaved and brutalized and their families ripped apart. But that's what we've read.
Yeah.
Okay, so what should we do first? Should we do a rundown on the standings right now, or have you already done that? No,
we just did that.
You just did that.
We kind of did that. So I said that Nevada should just call, and then we're probably going to see Pennsylvania have a big swing towards blue very soon, and then Georgia could actually turn blue.
Well, not pretty soon. So, as it stands right now, Pennsylvania, it's actually less than 100,000 votes now. It's actually 90, less than, it's 89,000, no, 90,500 votes between the two. As we all remember, when I signed off yesterday, it was almost 320,000. So it's pretty low comparing to where it used to be. We also need to have a close watch, and shout out to Jason Dutch, who predicted this. He said Georgia, I said Pennsylvania. Georgia is right now at 2,425,000 for Biden, 2,438,000 for Trump, which is 13,000 votes of a difference.
And people wondered why I ignored Kanye West and thought he was just a distraction, because it's looking like he got something like 50,000 votes.
Yeah,
this is why these people are toxic and dangerous, and that's exactly why Trump platformed him, because you never know when you need that extra 50,000 bump.
Nope. Right. And then you have Nevada, where Biden is pulling ahead. He's not 1%. He's 0.9 now. He was 0.6 when I signed off yesterday, but he is pulling ahead. And as we know, Nevada is doing the same thing as Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania is doing. They're counting the mail-in ballots last. And if they stay true to form, most of the mail-in and absentee ballots are Democratic.
Yeah.
So we will see a surge, I think. My prediction is Nevada, it will go to Biden. Most of Democratic mail-in ballots will be
not only Biden. That, but the larger cities,
yes,
like Las Vegas and Reno, because they're run mainly by the hospitality union, which is like the largest unions in their state. You're going to see a lot of those ballots be for Biden. As well as in Pennsylvania, you're going to see a lot of those big cities like Philadelphia, because of their population, are going to take longer, and those are going to be towards Biden. So that's the reason why they are not called, even though like Trump might be ahead by 2.5 or 3 percentage points. It means that they're still counting the Democratic areas.
Yeah. So just to be clear here, right now, Philadelphia County has only counted 82% of their ballots. We have 80.4% favor Biden. So he has 495,000 votes towards Trump's 117,000. That is quite a big difference, but we're still at only 88%. And considering that we are less than 100,000 votes between those two, and we have the big cities to go, we have the voting and the mail-in ballots that we know. Well, we don't know, but
it's safe to say that those are democratically.
Yeah, they have been somewhere around 70 to 75% Democratic up until now, unless they are going to break that trend in some way. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I think that we are going to see, what I hope to see, is that both Pennsylvania and Georgia going towards Biden, which will give us some peace of mind. For me, at this point, the only thing worse than actually losing Nevada and the whole election to Trump is that we are going to get a 270 to 268 vote, which is going to put it into a long fucking court battle about everything, because it's such a slim margin. We are talking about 0.6, 0.7% in some of these states. The recounts and all of that shit, it's just going to take a lot of time. It's going to be a fucking shit show.
Well, we have to wait for certifications. Each state has to certify the election results, and that usually takes about a month to do. And then you're adding on about another month for these later states. So it's going to be ridiculous. Trump is going to be a little baby asshole about the entire thing.
No, really.
Yeah,
it's a prediction that his little supporters are already trying to claim another type of voter fraud, like the Sharpie voter fraud or the mail-in ballot. If they receive it on election day, that's considered voter fraud.
They're doing the heads I win, tails you lose sort of strategy.
So I would like, of course, I would like to see both Pennsylvania and Georgia, but what I feel is that we need at least one of these states to go blue for us, so that we can have some peace of mind. It would be harder to contest the election results if he's 16 to 18 to 22 votes up, right? Electoral votes up. But of course,
go ahead. Sorry.
No.
And to be fair, if Biden wins, don't think we're not going to be on Biden's ass.
No.
Like, this shit ain't over yet. Like, our criticisms for the American government will not stop once Joe gets in there. But at least Joe's somebody that we can have normal political conversations about, rather than the nonsense we've been dealing with for the last 4 years.
Yeah,
this is not true. As soon as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in power, we're gonna have our tongues so far up their ass that we can taste their fucking tonsils. We are tribalists all the way. We don't hold truth to power.
Shartan, show some fucking respect. Mikey's eating right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to see the video of me opening the can again?
No, I don't. No one does.
I posted it to our Facebook page, by the way. And if you haven't...
I know, I just saw it. Fuck's sake.
If you haven't, you should go in and like our Facebook page. And of course, please press the thumbs up button on this video and upvote it for just a little bit. We would surely appreciate it. And of course, subscribe, comment, share. We love you all. You're beautiful. But here's my question. So I really want to ask you this. So this is for Brenna, because we know you're in California, and there has been rumors. Well, there are actually organizations talking about taking California out of the union, and there has been for years. From what I gather over here, because I've got Google, and Google is always true. These organizations have been gaining some traction lately. How likely would you say it's that by let's say in the next 10 years, we will actually see California trying to actually exit the United States of America?
So 2 years ago, we actually had something that was originally put on the ballot and then taken off due to it being illegal. But there was a push to turn California into 3 different states. So that was the closest to a Cal exit that we've actually seen. So what it would have done is basically have Northern California, Central California, and then Southern California, where, sorry guys, gardeners, where Northern California is far more conservative.
And a dog, apparently.
2 dogs, actually, 2 German Shepherds. Then Southern California, or kind of more southern inland, would be conservative, while there's the coastal elite kind of Democrat. So instead of having California be pretty much safely Democratic, it would change it into 3 different sections, making California weaker. I don't see California ever actually doing it, because as we have seen in history, it's a long, expensive, horrible way of taking a state out of the union. Now, do I think that California will continue being a power? Yes. Do I think California needs to get other states to, pay their fair share? Yes. Because the reason why California taxes are so high and all this other stuff is so difficult is because we send out so much money without getting it back. So we're slowly trying to get some of that money back.
And as we've been saying quite a few times on this show, the 5th biggest economy in the world is actually California. And you are, since 2017, you're also the greatest producer or export goods in your whole union. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, so, I mean, if hypothetically speaking, if we were to Cal exit completely, the economy of the United States would drop. It would basically rely solely on New York and Texas for most of its economy, and it would crumble. We have some of the largest ports in the United States here, so goods coming in and out. It would reduce that. So commerce would start to fall. We have technology innovation is primarily in California, with some in Texas and some in New York, where California is high. So all your phones, right? All the iPhones, all your computers. I mean, they're here in California. Like, you have that because of California. It's
really, you want to go
start.
there? Is this we're taking this? Let's see.
Brenna, did you touch my phone?
I plead the fifth on that one.
Mac 1,
Oh,
2,
there we go.
Mac 3, iPad, iPhone. I'm pretty much paid for everything that is in California, just by everything that's in this room.
So if you can imagine now, if California was to Cal exit,
please tell me that's not a thing.
Yeah, that was the term used, and it was thank you to Brexit for giving us that. But yeah, the Cal exit. If that were to happen, you can imagine just the intellectual property for those types of technologies would cause them anywhere outside of California to double, triple, quadruple in price, just so that you guys could have access to our phones. So it would be devastating for the United States to lose California, and so California's power will continue to grow. And
we should have Ira Sweet on to talk about what would happen.
Yeah,
like
that would be good.
The economic effects of Brexit and the aforementioned Clexic.
Calexit.
No, Clexic. Clexic's better.
It don't work.
California.
It's not my word. Don't get mad at me. It's not my word.
You're putting exit on the end of 3 letters. It's bullshit.
It's like putting gate on the end of everything.
Oh yeah, that can fuck off at all.
Okay, so
says a Wayne Gate denier.
Yeah.
So a little update here right now, guys. We are down to 9,000 votes in Georgia, favor of Trump. Yes, favor of Trump still, but as I said, only about 10, 12 minutes ago, it was 13,000. We're down to 9,000 now. Pennsylvania is also closing in. We are at 90,000 votes.
Yeah.
And as I said, we only in Pennsylvania, we were especially, let's be honest and look at the biggest county, well, the most votes, which is Philadelphia County, which is the biggest, and you also have which other one is the biggest? It's
Wade County.
Is it Wade County?
I just made that up.
Wait.
What I think
Wayne.
Delaware County. Delaware County.
That's a different state. Mate.
No.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm giving
fuck
you
you!
shit.
I'm looking at the map here. Yeah, you're just giving me shit. All right.
Just giving you
So,
shit,
I have
in
to say,
Philadelphia,
Steve Karnacki does this shit better. So.
of course it is.
Wow. Wow.
I love Steve Karnacki. Yeah, you can't.
Because he doesn't have 3 fucking jackasses in his ear while he's trying to do it.
He probably has 10.
He doesn't yet, but if he wants us, he can call us and get in touch.
Yeah, but they are feeding him information. They are feeding him information. They are trying to help him the fuck out. All right, but what we can see is that Philadelphia County only counted 82% of the votes, and it's it's an overwhelmingly majority, 80.4% favor Biden. As we can see in Georgia, basically every county has been marked, but all the counties where within the big cities have gone towards Biden. And as I said, we are at 9,500 votes, 9,525 votes as of right now. It's closing, and it's closing fast as fuck.
Yeah.
I have some messages from the chat.
Oh,
Tons of mice says the new Arkansas iPhone is 2 cans and a string.
That makes sense to me.
And then
that's a long fucking string. If I want to talk to you, mate,
I'd have to mail you
this.
I'd have to just mail you the other can.
just have like UPS, like having like this big fucking
spool of thread just out.
Yeah. And imagine trying to find, if we got a broken connection, trying to find where the fuck it broke somewhere in the Atlantic fucking Ocean.
I'll go check. And Doorknob Head has
it'd be me down at Brighton cutting it with a string.
You just pick up the rope and it's got like the name of the callers on it. It's like, oh nope, you're done. That's enough out of you.
I said cutting it with a string, cutting it with scissors.
Yeah, he'll cut with scissors, and then say with one in each ear, and they're just like eavesdrop on every conversation.
There'd be a lot of wiretapping and eavesdropping going on.
Do you hear what this cunt said about you? Do you hear what this cunt said about you?
Yeah, I would never. Me and Micah would never talk again.
No. And then Doorknob Head has a great one. Cal Exit Gate. Thank you, Doorknob.
Sure.
Just to completely throw Wayne.
That's bad all around.
Abby-dabby-doo.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
Fuck off.
So
take that back.
Take it back.
I don't want it anymore.
He is absolutely slaugdered by that joke.
It's fantastic.
It's not funny. It's not.
It's absolutely fucking hilarious.
Oh boy.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
I think
I run into that office where Jartan is right now, slam his head against the desk.
On it. I think. Are we doing? Oh Lord! It's time for an after show. So thank you guys for joining us today. This was episode 40. Do you know what I named this one, Wayne? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. You saw my comment about it.
Around the world in 40 Waynes. Thank you, everybody. We will see you guys next week, or we will see you in the after party in about 15, 20 minutes if you want to be part of the after show and you are a Patreon member. The link will be in the description. Please make sure you visit us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/thebinpodcast. I'm Mikey. That's Shartan. That's Wayne. That's Brenna. Cortez will be with us next week. Peace.